Hey guys, welcome to Mindmeld Tech. Today we're going to be going over a $550 PC upgrade slash build. And in a nutshell, I had a buddy. He's got an old gaming rig, actually before the FX chips, that old DDR2. I've been giving him some parts here and there. We've been truly trying to keep the thing going because he's on a tight budget, and it's just time. Let's put a fork in it. The system's done. So we talked about some things he would be able to keep in it, and what it boiled down to is the only thing that was worth keeping was the video card at this point. So I'm helping him out. I'm gonna give him a case. The Black Dragon painted case that I did. He's gonna get that. I'm gonna also be throwing in a new set of fans. If you've seen my channel before, these fans by Up Here. I'll be throwing these in the case for him. They're RGBs. I gotta make sure I say that right. I have a tendency to flip the B and the G, so if you hear me say RBG, forgive me. Sometimes I get excited and just keep going. But anyways, that's going to be recycled. The card that we're going to continue to use in it is a GTX 970. So I'm going to start the build before he comes over, and he's going to bring the card over, and at the end of that we're going to put that in, and I'll probably get some do a little bit of tests on it and post some of the results. Figure the card is still good enough for what he's playing right now game wise, and maybe in a couple months when he's saved up some more money, maybe he'll upgrade the card with it also. But like I said, the GTX 970 isn't really a slouch. I mean, it could still be a pretty decent card. So anyways, I'm going to talk about the parts that I've selected for the time being that we are going to replace that are going to be brand new. And I'll put a parts list down below in the description. A lot of these I kind of just went through and picked because of budget, and we kind of talked about some things here and there when I was picking them out, but I also got all these parts from Micro Center. There's a Micro Center by my house. If you don't have a Micro Center by your house, I'm sorry. Some of the prices will probably be different than what you're going to be seeing here because of some of the discounts and sales and things that they have. So, but if you do have a Micro Center, please take advantage of your Micro Center. Anyways, so the first thing we're going to talk about is, the motherboard here. This is it's a B450 gaming motherboard. I use the word gaming lightly. It's kind of like a sales, pitch. This is also, I didn't realize it when I was purchasing it at the time, but it's the Fatality gaming gear board. So if you're familiar with online gamers and things like that, everybody should know who Fatality is. Anyways, but this is by ASRock. Haven't really used any of their boards in the past, but from what I understand, they're pretty solid. So we picked this one out. I think if this came out after discounts, it'd be like $79 for this motherboard. But it's pretty solid. Like I said, it's a B450. I want that because that's still a good chipset to use there. It's got some bells and whistles. It's got the RGB connections, so you can change those fans and do some cool stuff there. It's got the M.2 slot in it, so that's going to be cool. There's two of those on there. It also has USB 3.1, and it's got the C-type. The C-type I think is kind of cool that those are coming out on some of these now. But anyways, so that's the board we selected. Kind of excited about that. For our processor, I have selected the Ryzen 5 3600. It came with the cooler. All the cooling is going to be stock minus the fans I put in. So like I said, he's on a budget, so we didn't get too crazy. But this will be a pretty solid processor for him. It'll be able to handle a lot of his games. It has the 6 cores, 12 threads. So that'll do him for a real good long time. For storage, I did get a Crucial 500 gigabyte M.2 drive. That'll go on the board. That'll be where I'll put his OS. And maybe he'll put a game or two that he wants to run really fast on there. Things of that nature. Storage. I've got one of our classic Western Digital Blues. I said again on a budget. Otherwise, I probably would have just got a 1 terabyte SSD. But you know, that's where we're at. For our RAM, I'm gonna go 16 gigabyte of Aegis DDR4, 3000 speed. That's gonna be nice. Like I said, he was playing the computer he had before. It was kind of funny because it's, you know, DDR2 and it's an older board, and you know, it was the most he'd go up to is 4 gigs. And then he was trying to find DDR2 that would fit in it. Like we were trying all kinds of things to put some life in this old PC, and it was actually a hand-me-down. He's had it for quite a few years. It was actually one of my old gaming rigs, but you know, like I said, we just beat the horse on that. The last component that we bought was a power supply, and we kind of kicked around the power supply because this power supply was working, but it was getting close to, I don't know, maybe close to, you know, 9 years old for the power supply. So I kicked it around. He said, well, see if you can put it in the budget. So power supplies, because of everything going on in the world, or they can be expensive right now. And I shopped around, and Micro Center has their own brand. And so I picked up one of those. So it's a semi-modular power supply. It's a power spec. It came out, it was, it says 84 on the tag, but I had to see what the sale price was. Like I said, I have the receipts somewhere. But I want to say I got it for like $70 or something like that. But, so, and it's semi-modular, so we're not going to have as many wires there. That'll be kind of cool. It's 750 watts. You know, that'll be enough to get them by for right now. It is bronze. Some people might have some things to say about that, but honestly, to me, the difference between bronze, gold, and whatever is what you're going to pay in price. I mean, I've bought some power supplies across the spectrum, and you know, like I said, this will do them just fine. So, anyways, I'm gonna get my Zool toolkit, and we're gonna get started on this. I'm going to do this video a little bit differently than some of the last couple builds I got. I got some requests for some people to actually want to see me put the components in, put the screws in. I'm probably not going to show you all the screws, but I mean, we'll show you more of that stuff so some people can get a better idea of what they're looking at. I think down the line too, I'm going to probably do a how to build a PC video, you know, and really kind of break some of that stuff down. I'm also going to have another video coming up where I'm going to do how to select PC parts. There's some tools out there that are free that everybody can use, and we'll probably go over those at some point. But anyways, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this. Let's start putting this thing together and go from there. All right, so here we are. We're going to start by, we're going to take our motherboard out of the box. We're going to see what's in here. Got the motherboard book. We got to install the special software. You know, there's a software. There's a postcard. Don't know why I want a postcard, but we got some extra things. Here's for your M.2 drive, you have a screw that's here. You have some SATA connectors. The plate for the back. The motherboard. So I'm kind of excited for this, you know, because I haven't really used an ASRock yet, and you know, I think it's going to be a fun experience. So here is our motherboard. Looks pretty cool. You know, I like a lot of the I like the paint job. It's pretty nice. Looks at overall, I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm gonna slide this stuff in the box real quick underneath there. So, you know, our M.2s, looks like there's 2 spots on this board for an M.2. See if I can get a little bit of a better angle here. There we go. So one is right here, and the other one is right here. So we'll probably use this first one here and go from there, and then we'll put our CPU in there and things like that. But there, yes. So I got that out, and I like to put my CPU in on the way this is here. Let's go ahead and open the CPU. And we're going to talk about some things we're going to have to do to this motherboard before we install the CPU. Now, this is going to be an AMD setup. Now, when motherboards will be set up for either an AMD or an Intel chip, and they both clip in different ways. You know, AMD has these pins on the chip on the bottom that stick out, whereas Intel does not. The pins are like on the actual where the chip sits. So what we're going to want to look at first is these two brackets here, because I'm 99% sure that with Ryzen you do not need those. No, you do not. You always want to be careful, because as you can see here, you have, you know, thermal paste on the bottom of this already pre-installed. You do not add thermal paste to this. Now, if you want to put something higher end on this, you can get some rubbing alcohol and clean this up and apply maybe something higher end. But straight out of the box, this is what you get, this is what you can use, and it'll work just fine. So we also, see, now I'm gonna have to see if I can't fix that also. You know, one of the things I've always disliked about the AMD coolers is, you know, where this is gonna be. I guess I could put it on that way. Okay. But here's your cooler, basic AMD cooler. It's pretty cool, very Spire. I like them. They have some pretty decent coolers. If you're not doing any overclocking, you know, it's good to stay. So I'm gonna set the cooler aside for right now. And what we're gonna have to do is remove these here. Now, those will unscrew, and then, you know, you can, you know, screw this straight in. Now, the way that's going to work is when we take these off and take these screws out, on the bottom of the motherboard, there's this plate. And this is basically, this plate is going to stay here, and when you go to screw your heat sink in, it's going to screw into this plate. So that's what we're going to have there. So we'll go ahead and get that started here. So if you haven't seen the video yet, I have a video where I talk about the Zool toolkit, and I also compare it to a oh, what the heck is it called? That popular toolkit that's out there. It's really on the tip of my tongue. iFixit. So I compare it to an iFixit. I do own an iFixit toolkit. To be completely frank, I haven't used it yet. I did a video with a side-by-side comparison, and it wasn't too bad. Like I said, the iFixit's not bad, and I liked a lot of the resources on their website. I still highly recommend them, even if you don't use an iFixit toolkit. So, as you can see here, as I've taken this off, there's the little nubs for the screws screw into from the back of the plate are up there. So I am really excited about this. Like I said, this is I built a couple computers recently with some of this new Ryzen stuff, but this one I'm excited about, you know, because like I said, this is gonna be a little more personal for a friend. So what we have next is And I wish I had a good way to show you, but I don't. Okay. So right here, there's a little triangle, little bitty triangle right here on this section. And on your processor, there's also a little bitty triangle right there. And the reason for that is they'll match up. So you're going to end up putting those in there like that. So there's a little bit of lever here. You kind of move this lever, and you can see this board kind of slides. So you'll open that up. You'll carefully open up a processor shell. Now you want to make sure when you handle your processor, you handle it on the edges like this. Okay, you definitely, don't want, to grab these little gold pins here, because they're very delicate, and you'll kind of be screwed if you bend them or break them off. Okay, so that being said, I'll take a look here. Like I said, we got the little triangle there. I'll flip this over. And the triangle that's here is just little teeny bitty itty. I'm just gonna drop that guy right in there. Now this is gonna fit in there with absolutely no pressure. It just slide right in and just lay in there, and you shouldn't have to force it, anything like that. If it doesn't slide in there, you're doing something wrong. Check and make sure you got your triangles. And then you just put a little bit of pressure, clip that back in. We've now installed our processor. Pretty simple process. Okay, so now we're going to go and put on the heatsink. Now, one of the things with the heatsink is, AMD has, let me zoom out a little bit. AMD has this logo here, and if you see this heatsink is long, so these are long, so it's going to go in there that way. You want to be mindful of how you're putting this in with your board. I want to find a way. I think I can unscrew these screws if I had to, but I think you can unscrew these screws here for this top part and rotate this so that you can plug it in better. But you want to be careful which side you have it on, depending on your motherboard. Like, because if you put it on this side, you might have some cooling issues that it might hit over here. And I've had motherboards where I've tried to install these where I put it on this side, and this overhangs too much where you can't put RAM in that first slot if you need to. So if you're loading up on RAM, you definitely don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the AMD logo on this side, because it'll be out of the way. It'll keep the RAM nice and clear, and I think it'll make it a little bit easier for me to kind of hide this wire up towards the top of the case, finding a fan header. And we'll find a fan header here in a little bit. So just kind of line it up like so. All right, so after you get that lined up, you can start to screw on the screws. Now what I usually do a couple turns there, couple turns there. I don't just want to kind of try to evenly distribute the tension, the weight. There we go. That one wasn't quite catching. Like I said, I just go from corner to corner, jumping around a few turns at a time until it's all on there. All right, so after you've secured all four of those, you you're good to go. So these have springs, so I just screw them down, and when they stop, they're good to go. Your tension will be good, and that's it. Just a little bit. And two, then that gives me a little bit of freedom, you know, because you look at the top and, you know, your CPU fan headers are right here in the corner. So I can take this and hide it along the top of the case, you know, when I plug it in. And I'll figure where to plug that in here a little bit. I'll probably, you know what I mean? Because I can just, it'll make it nice and easy to hide. So I definitely want it to look clean. All right, so while we're here, we're going to install a RAM. Now, I cannot preach enough. Look in your book that came with your motherboard and see how to set up your RAM. Because your RAM, whether you got dual channel, well, everybody pretty much has dual channel anymore. But, you know, you definitely want to take a look at there and see what you got going on. Because if you don't put it in the right slots, you know, then it's not going to run as effectively as it could. So with this particular board, and like a lot of other boards, they want it in the 2 slots. So it'll be A2 and B2 respectively, when you just run a 2-stick configuration. If you're going to fill all these up, kind of doesn't matter at that point. But like I said, this is some Aegis G-Skill. You know, I've become a fan of this stuff. I've used it in multiple builds, and it's cheap. It's done the job very well, and I just really, you know, got no complaints. I mean, it's got a couple pretty rocking builds with using it. So you got to make sure this notch is lined up with that hole, and it just kind of slides in, and then you just want to press until it snaps in. We'll do the next one here. Same thing. Just press it in until it snaps. And now our RAM's installed. We got this Crucial P2, whatever it is, 500 gigabyte. I think it'll serve us pretty good. Get this out of the packaging here. So these are handy little things, not very big at all. So it's got some instructions. What do the instructions say? Yep, they don't say a whole lot. Okay. Open up this clamshell. It's amazing how that this is a whole hard drive now. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you know, that just blows my mind. Like how the technology is going along. 500. All right. So it's going to take this, and it's going to slide. It's pretty nifty. We'll take our little screw out of here. I love these magnetic tips. I just got to get them to be on there straight. There we go. Just press that down a little bit, and then screw it in. I think we need a smaller bolt. It's a little bitty screw. All right. There you go. Just go in there, put the screw in. Voila. We now have installed officially our M.2. Are ready to go into the computer case. Tidy up some of this mess we got here. So I am really excited about this build, about getting these fans and stuff ready. And let me know what you think about some of the camera angles I'm trying. I've been playing with my tripod. I want to try to get some extensions to kind of hang the camera out a little farther. This one isn't too bad for where we're at right now. I think gives me some, you know. All right. So we're going to install our motherboard next. And got this thing called an I/O shield. Looks like this. Just a metal plate. Goes in the back. Usually at the bottom, you got these 3 round holes where your audio is. That'll go on the bottom. So you just take this and just kind of push it in the back here. It'll pop in there. Sometimes you gotta, you know, be a little less than gentle putting it in there. There we go. But it should snap right in there. There we go. I think we're in good shape. I/O shield's in. All right. So what we're going to do next is carefully put our motherboard in. Now you're going to see, like on this one here, there's a little peg. There's no screw goes in. But when you put your motherboard in, this it's going to sit on the peg somewhere in the middle there. Maybe. You know what? Oh. I may So we are going to have to alright, so this isn't a problem. We just have to move a couple of these so that they line up properly. So do that real quick. Got that one, got that one. Got this one, got this one. Got that one. Got that one. This one. for number 2. Alright, we're there. So we'll go ahead and we'll get our motherboard secured. Go ahead and get our screws in. Now, sometimes when you're doing this, your motherboard isn't going to line up 100%. And you may have to kind of press on some of the sides of here. And one of the reasons I took the fans out is so that it's a little easier to work in. And I haven't put the power supply in yet either, for the same reason. As you start to get these screws in, you're going to notice that the next set will be a little easier to maneuver, because they start to tighten up and align the board and whatnot. This is kind of a weird sized board too. It doesn't quite, fit what I was looking for here, but it'll be good enough. Like I said, it's in there. All right, there we go. Motherboard is secure. It's in there. I can route this CPU fan up there. I tuck that away. That's nice and clean. All right. So something I like to do at this point, while we have the room to kind of work in here, is wire up the front panel. So if you really can't, like I said, I need new glasses, so what I'm going to do is kind of look at the instruction booklet here. Inside the instruction booklet, it'll have, your front panel wiring. Tell you which is which. Okay. System panel header, right here in the instructions. So, it'll have some diagrams here to tell you power lead, blah, blah, blah. Let's check out this wiring. Kind of got a mess of wires here. So we'll bring some things through the front here. Let's see what we got. Aha! These little buggers. The bane of any builder. Really wish they just put them all on one handy plug. So you can just plug the plug in there. Because to me, they're very teeny. And I got big fat fingers. And on top of my fingers, you know, my eyesight, always sucks after you get everything together and find out, I wired these wrong, of all things. All right, so we got that in there. Next, I'm gonna put the power supply in. Now, there's a couple different trains of thought on this. You know, some people, I've often put the power supply in before the motherboard. And the reason being, I used to think I was clumsier than I actually am. And I didn't want to drop a power supply onto a motherboard because, well, that never sounds like it's going to end well. But I have a little more faith in my abilities these days. So, like I said, this is like a pretty nice power supply. What we're going to do also is we're going to mount this with the fan on the bottom because it's somebody I know, and I'll be able to check up on them and say, hey, you know, this has got to be on a flat surface. Like I said, I feel it's much better to suck the air from the bottom. All right, so let's see what we got here. Like I said, this is a semi-modular supply. Just got to kind of there we go. Got that in there. Let's screw that in real quick. So I really enjoy doing this, and it's really cool to be able to have the opportunity to put something together for a good friend like this. You know, I used to spend, like, you know, quite a bit of time gaming with this dude. We used to play a lot of MMOs together. Mostly, well, he tried to get me into playing WoW, but mostly what I was playing was EQ2. I was a big EverQuest fan, to be honest. I'm gonna set this up right so I can get some of these screws set right better. But yeah, like I said, it was a lot of good times had there. So it's really kind of a pleasure to be able to put something together for him, you know, that he'll be able to use and get some enjoyment out of, and you know, things like that. Because like I said, he's a pretty cool dude. As soon as I get this mounted. All right, so power supply's in there. We will start plugging some stuff in here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to come around the back. So that's going to be here. I'm gonna bring that right about there because, well, I want this to be nice and clean. I can just, so let's get that there. All right, so we got this that's installed in there, and this looks like this is, you know, for a video card. So we'll set that aside. This is a connector that goes up into the motherboard up here. Helps with the power. This one, like I said, this case doesn't have, normally I would put this behind and then come up there to, you know, plug it in. So for right now, I'm gonna plug this in up here. Don't really see a great place to route this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna route it behind, come up through this hole, and come up across the top here. So hopefully I can hide it with some of the fans. So that's good there. Like I said, hopefully, as you can see there, I'll try to get some pictures of that after the fact. All right, so I'm gonna put the 3 more fans in. Then I'm gonna wire up the fans themselves and go from there. So I'll get the fans in and then we'll go over some of the wiring. All right, so while we're here, we got a couple other things to plug in. This one here. Okay, so we got an HD audio. HD audio. We're going to bring this in through the back here. Bring it up straight through here. HD audio is going to go all the way to the end. All right, so we got that. This one, what was this? Oh, yeah. This is like our USBs and whatnot. There's an actual plug in the front right here for the USBs. So what I'm gonna do is bring this through here, and then voila. And that'll plug in right there. Perfect. All right. So I'll get the fans in and we'll rock and roll. All right, so all of our fans are going to plug into this hub. This hub has a spot here for RGB and for power. It's got some connections here that connect into the motherboard, and you know, it's also got this power end here, and it's also got a reset switch, which I doubt we're going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this plugged in and wired up, and we'll fire this up and do some software installation. All right, guys, so starting to run short on time, but in a nutshell, until the video card gets here, this is what we got. They're going to be here in a little bit, so I was taking a little too long with some explanation and stuff. Like I said, I do plan on doing a video. We're going to do a step-by-step computer build. and I'll be able to walk through and do some explanations, some things, and I'll probably even do software installation. But for right now, here we are. We're finished my video card. I'm going to install Windows. You can see down here we got our storage drives, 1 terabyte. Pretty easy installation. I apologize about not showing that. But like I said, I'm going to have a video coming up here at some point where we're going to do a step-by-step build. Just something, some people keep asking me some questions, and like I said, I just want to help out. Alright, so let's get the software installed and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I ran short on time. I had a pretty limited window that I was trying to squeeze all this in between the filming and putting the PC together, and I had some hiccups. And I basically want to take this part of the video to talk about some of those hiccups. So I'd never worked with an ASRock board before, and the CPU that we picked out was a 3000 series, and I had a B450 motherboard, and some of the motherboards you have to do a BIOS update when you get them with the B450s. And I ran into that issue previously when if you've seen the PC repair fail, that's what had happened there, and I didn't have an extra CPU at the time. So what I ended up doing is I ordered another CPU to be able to try to fix this problem. So I ordered that, and then I started doing some reading. I started doing more intense Googling, and I ended up on the ASRock forums, and I've discovered that some of the ASRock boards, now the ASRock boards, from what I come highly recommended, they're very solid boards, but they can be finicky from what I've read when you're building with them. So I had to go through and I changed the configuration of the RAM, and I put a video card in, because at the time I didn't have the video card, and I discovered that it was able to post and boot up, and I could do the software installation and get the computer running from there, and that's literally all I had to do. I've never encountered that with another motherboard before, and so that was just something to keep in mind. Like I said, from everything I've read and people who I know have used ASRock products, they come highly recommended, but I guess it's just something to watch out for, regardless of the product you're getting. Check the forums. Do a little bit of research if you get stuck. Now I got an extra processor, but I think I'm going to use that processor for an upgrade for the wife. That'll be an upcoming. If you see it there in the background, she's a Whovian, and I have a pretty cool Doctor Who build that did for her years ago, and it's time to upgrade that. So that's going to be a next project. Hopefully sometime here this coming month. But anyways, like I said, it's a life lesson. You get stuck, do some research. There's plenty of it out there. There's somebody somewhere on the internet's encountered what you did. You just gotta dig and find it. And in this case, I did, and was able to get it up and running. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and share, all that happy stuff. Like I said, leave some comments below if there's something you're looking forward to seeing or you want to see, and we'll see you back here again on Mindmeld Tech. Thanks for watching.